here and appreciate everything that a lot of you do for the city and certainly your interest in the city. This time, if you would, please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Father, we come to you tonight as a group saying thank you for all you do for us, for what you do for our city, and the opportunities we have that are provided by you. We thank you for the opportunity to enjoy the holiday season. We ask that you remind us along the way of the real reason that we celebrate, and we thank you for your greatest gift of all. We ask that you be with everybody here tonight, be with their families, be with those that have special needs, that have crisis in the families, be with those that have recently lost loved ones, and those that need your healing hand. We also ask that you be with our employees as they provide our safe community and a great place to live and work and play that we have. We also ask that you be with us here tonight as we carry on the business of the city. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In your packet, everybody's been given a copy of tonight's proposed agenda. If there are no additions or corrections, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Also, you have a copy of the minutes of the November 27th meeting. If there are no additions or corrections to those minutes, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? As always, I hate to start off a meeting like this at a time of sadness, but I do want to recognize the fact that Mr. Barton lost his father in the last week, and certainly our sympathy and our prayers go out to him and the loss. I've known his father for many years and his family, and certainly we've lost a great member of our community and a very good man. So with that, Mr. Barton, keep him in your family, in your prayers, if you would.
Thank you. I appreciate all the city employees and everyone who reached out, and they've touched my heart in many ways, and I appreciate the city of Calhoun, the employees. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Remind everybody that we had a runoff election on December the 5th. The results of that election were Ray Mitchell Denman with 329 votes and Mr. Alvin Long with 302. Mr. Denman, I think, just joined us, and we certainly want to welcome him and congratulate him in the runoff election. And with that, there's a requirement that they be sworn in within 60 days, and that swearing in will take place at the next meeting, which will be held 1 week from today because of nobody wanted to come on Christmas. So, but and also remind everybody at the Calhoun that city offices will be closed on Monday, December the 25th, as well as Tuesday, December the 26th, and also on January the 1st for New Year's Day. Just on a personal note, I just want to thank all the city employees for the job that they've done, that they do all the time. But when you go through events like we've had in the last couple of days with that much snow and all, it brings a lot to your attention. Certainly our roads were very good. Mr. Peterson got out the day after the snow about 6 o'clock in the morning, he said, and the roads were very passable and very good. And I know a lot of times the electric department's engaged in tree trimming, and we get complaints every now and then about the way we trim trees or something. But at times like this, with the heaviness of the snow and sometimes ice, you can be grateful that they're not over the lines and so forth. So all city employees do a good job, and A lot of it goes unnoticed sometimes, but we appreciate the effort and everything they do for the city. This time we'll have council comments. We'll begin with Councilman Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The water, wastewater, and engineering report for the month of November, water and sewer systems active projects, 2-inch galvanized line replacement. Project is approximately 97% complete. Work began October 18th on the last scheduled areas, which are Beamer Circle, Overland Drive, Emory Lane, and those are all off of Beamer Road, and they are near completion at this point. Obviously, with the entire project at 97%, can't be a whole lot left. The new MPDES permit for the wastewater treatment plant went into effect March 1st of last year, 2016, and the chemical feed system is complete, has been for a while. Part of the new requirements, steps are underway to meet the stormwater segment of the watershed protection plan, and we are currently looking at possibilities for a Section 319 grant for stormwater improvements. The nutrient trading monitoring pilot program, year 2 of the program, has begun with three sampling events completed to date. Wastewater treatment plant motor control center upgrades, phase 2. These are on site and installation is in progress and going well. This project is funded by the SPLOST. South Calhoun bypass utility relocations. That project has been completed and came in under budget by approximately $165,000. The Pisgah drainage area sewer replacement, the bid opening was January 4th of this year with IPR Southeast as the contractor, and the project is about 99% complete, is on schedule and tracking at approximately $50,000 under budget. The chlorine scrubber for the Brittany Drive water treatment plant is in place and under budget by about $52,000. So we're going to celebrate. We're just saving money right and left. And that's also a SPLOST project. Water and sewer projects in development. The airport sanitary sewer relocation involves the relocation of approximately 4,500 feet of sewer main to accommodate the airport expansion. State Route 156 water main relocation is part of the GDOT railroad bridge replacement out at Ranger, where 156 runs into Highway 411. Plans have been submitted to the DOT and it's scheduled to take place in the 2018 calendar year. North Wall Street and Redbud Road intersection improvements. GDOT asked for and was given an estimate to relocate utilities that may conflict with this proposed project. No real timetable for that right now. Highway 41 South at Lynn Creek is another bridge widening project for the Department of Transportation. Plans have been submitted and that also is scheduled to take place in 2018. And projects in engineering or conceptual design on the sewer side. Blackwood Creek trunk sewer replacement, Yarborough Street replacement sewer, and Louise Avenue, Cherry Street, and Florence Avenue sewer replacement. On the water side, Bellwood Road water transmission main, Curtis Parkway water main, Reeves Station water main, the second interconnect with Pickens County, 2 million-gallon Ranger tank and water mains, and GDOT at State Route 156 Salacoa Creek bridges are scheduled for 2020. So getting an early start, but it'll be here before we know it. On the water treatment side of things, for the month of November, total gallons withdrawn 296,110,000 gallons. That's a daily average of 9,870,000, which is just slightly below the monthly average year to date. 37.7% of the production was at the Brittany Drive plant. And the rainfall, which we monitor, we had the least rain in November that we've had in any month so far this year, at 1.08 inches, but still for the year we're at 51.65 inches compared to 30.69 for all year last year. So it's nice to have a little rainfall to ensure the water supply is where we need it to be. Wastewater treatment plant, The average daily flow, 3.389, average BOD effluent, 4, average suspended effluent, 10, and average COD effluent, 54. The water distribution monthly report, there were 554 total work orders completed, and these included 19 water connections installed, 8 water service leaks repaired, 15 water main leaks repaired, 28 calls to investigate reported leaks, 3,000 feet of new 6-inch water main installed, 400 feet of new 2-inch water main installed, 404 meters or MXUs changed out, 13 changed water service to a new main line, 10 change meter shutoff valves, 3 meter yokes replaced, 2 fire hydrants repaired, 7 turn water off or replace meter box lids, 4 calls to repair yards or patch roads, 6 calls to check water pressure, 6 calls to flush water lines. There were 412 utility locates responded to, 35 utility locates called in for work orders, 25 emergency utility locates called in for repairs, and 89 miscellaneous other calls responded to. On November 7th, completed installing the 3,000 feet of aforementioned 6-inch water main along Gravelly Road, and on the 8th, installed 450 feet of 2-inch poly pipe to replace old 1-inch galvanized pipe along Burton Drive and changed 3 services to that new line. The wastewater collection monthly report, there were 21 new sewer service connections installed, 3 sanitary sewer services repaired, 2 sanitary sewer manholes repaired, 2,250 feet of sanitary sewer services TV inspected, 286 utility locates completed, 4 lift station repairs, 5 sewer calls, 4 for service lines, 3 on the customer side. 5,200 feet of sanitary sewer lines were cleaned, 10,150 feet of sewer line right-of-way bush hogged, and 92 manholes opened for inspection. The police department, for the month of November, anticipated fines for the month were $76,310. Fines actually collected from previous cases, $36,614. There were 395 cases made, included 111 speeding violations, 10 DUIs, and the other 271 are miscellaneous other traffic violations, failure to have a proper license, failure to have a proper license plate, vehicle problems of one sort and another, just various things along those lines. Issued 122 state warrants, 2 search warrants were issued, 17 medical assists provided, and wrote 547 warnings. 56 highway accidents were worked, private property accidents, there were 37, and injuries involved in these accidents were 16, and that's both minor and serious, and I think thankfully most, if not all of those, were minor. Provided 50 escorts. There were 1,306 incident reports, 198 alarms, and we patrolled 46,234 miles of city streets. On the court side of things, there were 417 cases from the police department. The anticipated fines, $76,310. 114 cases were dropped. There were 400 actual court cases, and those involved monetary involvement in those cases, $48,035. 227 bond forfeitures, and those totaled $23,155. 33 probation cases, and the probation payments received were $18,475. 9 probations were revoked, 151 bench warrants issued, 58 SSI warrants, 48 FTAs, transported 9 prisoners, and there were 84 cases rescheduled and 9 subpoenas served. The fire department, the suppression division, there were 171 total reported calls for service. Responses included 4 fire incidences with $1,500 in estimated fire damage. 109 emergency medical services provided, 4 hazardous conditions incidents, 6 service calls, 30 good intent calls, 14 false alarms or false calls, and the additional activities the fire department had, they assisted with fire prevention program at Catoosa Senior Village phases 1 and 2, and completed all the routine vehicle and station maintenance. Training division, there were 462 total man hours of training for the month. Training consisted of officer training, fire attack, and vehicle extrication. The fire inspections, public safety education, code enforcement division had 107 total reported activities, and these included 24 annual inspections, 4 new business inspections, 23 requested inspections, 24 follow-up or re-inspections, 3 burn site inspections, 2 plan reviews, 27 consultations. Additional inspection and public safety activities. Inspections coordinated and helped teach the previously listed fire safety class during November, conducted fire extinguisher classes at Gordon Central High School, and inspections attended the city zoning and annexation meeting. Building inspectors report, there were 24 new residential permits issued, 4 residential remodels, 1 new commercial permit, 3 commercial remodels or additions, 12 residential plumbing, 10 residential electrical, 2 commercial plumbing, 6 residential HVAC, 3 commercial HVAC, 4 commercial electrical, 1 sign permit, 1 soil and erosion permit, 6 grading permits, and 1 MPDES permit, total of 78 permits, and estimated dollar value of the work included in those is $2,975,585, with permit fees that totaled $21,799. There were also 234 total inspections involved for the month, and I will not give you the gory details of what all those involved, but it's always good when we see a fairly significant amount of new residential construction. There are 24 of those, so that's a good thing, hopefully, for all of us. And that concludes my report.
That's a very good report, and I agree, 24, we saw several months with 0.
Yeah, quite a few with 0, 1, or 2.
Thank you for that report, Mayor. Councilman Barton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For the electric department, for the month of November, construction continues at the new Holiday Inn Express and also continues at 10 new units at JW Plaza. The pole replacement continues on Curtis Parkway and Deuce Pond Road. New residential services are continuing at Madison Garden and Willowbrook. Rockbridge Community Church at Curtis Parkway, Crystal Cavern Spring Water at River Street, and Brian Young Carlite at Warrior Path are in electrical engineering. The City of Calhoun's electric load for November is projected to be about 32,000,000 to 800,000 kilowatts, which is about the same as it was last year. Actual numbers will be out on the 18th. Under telecommunications, we connected 2 new internet connections and quoted 3 more. We started pulling fiber for the Brittany Well project. We still need 3 vaults installed. We successfully ported over 500 phone numbers to a new phone circuit, turning the school's system phone numbers, and the last set of numbers to port are trying to schedule for January the 2nd. We resolved the issue between the new model phone and networking addressing. Current phone model is no longer available from the vendor. We also installed operating system updates for 2 servers. Under GIS, we installed a new version of the ESRI software onto an ArcGIS server and database. Continued to build the GIS layer updates, assisted with water GIS modeling sessions. Updated the following layers of water system meter data: fire department pre-planning for industrial and commercial buildings, physical addressing for buildings and billing information. Also updated the city GIS website. And for the DDA, the Downtown Development Authority, the director attended the Business Engagement Committee meeting, Young Professionals meetings, and the Chamber of Commerce Booster Breakfast. The HPC held its regularly scheduled meeting. Hamilton Healthcare System is presenting a downtown winter wonderland in the depot in the parking lot right here. And it's going to be on the 14th, 15th, and 16th. It will feature a 30 by 40 ice skating rink, along with food trucks, pictures with Santa, and more. And you please need to sign up for the ice rink for times and events. Please visit downtowncalhounga.com. Otherwise, I'm afraid you may not be able to skate. And we're also going to have the Christmas parade on the December the 14th at 7 p.m. And we hope to see the community at both of these events. Safety report for the month of November. The safety committee met on the 7th, and the topic was ladder safety. Safety inspection was completed on the 14th at the water plant. We had 0 vehicle accidents and 3 workers' comps. Mine is short and sweet. That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much for that report, too. Councilwoman Palazzolo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Streets Department was busy in the month of November, completing 35 shop work orders and 33 street department work orders. They installed 4 new street signs, and they began the annual leaf cleanup all over town, so I know we really appreciate that, and especially right before the snowfall. So I just wanted to piggyback on Mayor's comment. I know that all of the departments worked really hard during the snowfall, and the street department, they made sure that all the streets were clean and kept our community safe, so just a huge thank you. They also cut and removed trees at the soccer fields. The cemetery department continued the routine maintenance on both cemeteries. They supervised 9 opening and closing of grave sites. I'm sorry, opening and closing of 9 grave sites, and they sold 10 new spots. The Parks Department continued their routine maintenance of picking up litter, hauling garbage to the dump, and also mowing and weed eating around the downtown area. They worked on Christmas decorations for our downtown, so definitely we appreciate that because it does look absolutely beautiful. And they cleaned curbs that are to be painted. Our animal control, they started the month with 3 dogs and 4 cats in-house, and they actually finished with 2 dogs and 4 cats that are available to be adopted, and they had no animals that were euthanized. And I do know they had a couple of small, I don't think they're puppies, but they had a couple of small dogs if anybody's looking for a pet for Christmas. Our Calhoun Recycling Center, they brought in over 14 tons of recycled material that was sorted at the center, and they collected almost $1,000 for that material. Our rec department, the registration for youth basketball was concluded with 328 boys and girls, and actually they started playing this evening, and games are being played at both the Billy Bearden Rec Center and as well as the Calhoun Middle School gym. Our football, youth football, the all-star football teams participated in the GRPA 5th District Football Championship November 9th through the 18th. And they hosted games on November 9th, 11th, 16th, and the championship games on the 18th was also held at Phil Reeves Stadium. The youth soccer, the all-star soccer teams participated in the GRPA district tournament in Dalton, November 11th through the 18th. And I'm happy to say that the under 14 co-ed team won the GRPA state championship December 1st and 2nd. And the under the U8 and the U12 girls finished runner-up for the state tournament. So congratulations to all of those teams. Tennis, they held junior level tournaments November 3rd and 4th, and of course the adult leagues have just been playing throughout the month. And also we had Kim Townsend, Jeff Davis, Sharon Meadows, Haley Amick, and David Mitchell that attended the Georgia Recreation Parks Association conference during the week of November 6th through the 9th, and that is a total of 44 hours of continued education for that staff. And that is my report.
Thank you very much for that report. Councilman Hamilton.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's good to see such a large crowd of new faces here today. Let me remind everybody that we do stream these meetings live on YouTube so that you can go back and judge for yourself what's being done here at your community table. I'm assuming the new council that will be taking their seats in January will elect to continue this coverage. My congratulations also to Ray Denman and George Crowley. They were both at the work session today, getting caught up on what's going on in our community. You're in good hands. These are leaders that have been around for quite a while, so the challenge will be to you men to follow through with whatever's happening in our community. Revolving loan fund, we've got that going on in our community. We were dealing with the issue of having way too much money 2 months ago. But we got some big loans that just went through. We've got 2 others that are pending. The eligibility for that is now if you want to borrow $15,000 per job retained or job created, you can borrow that at 2% interest as long as you can get a 50% match from another source. Currently, we have $361,768 available for people who live inside the city limits of Calhoun, any kind of a business venture. So if you have a need for a loan, please contact City Hall for that. Sharon, if you'll. Northwest Georgia Regional Commission, you know I like to report on the unemployment. The Regional Commission is the funding arm for the federal dollars that we send in on April the 15th to Washington. Those dollars come back to us for workforce investment, which has to do with unemployment. Also comes back to us for aging elderly, Meals on Wheels, homebound care, etc., and for planning. Now, we currently use outside planners. We used MacTech the last time, and Larry Vickery headed up the 10-year comp plan this time with local representation. As you look there, Calhoun-Gordon County is at 4.2% unemployment. We are below the regional rate, which is 4.3, and we're below the state rate, which is 4.3. All that's driven by manufacturing for the most part. Still looking at salaries here in Calhoun at $39,163 on average. That's an increase that is related exactly to the manufacturing base that's here. The surrounding areas in blue, those are always driven by the metro areas, traveling into Atlanta, traveling up to Chattanooga, and our neighbor to the north there, Murray County at 5.5, currently has the highest unemployment rate in our region. So we're doing very well. I did a report last week in Savannah about unemployment statistics, and I was looking back at 2008-2009 council. We were at 14 and 13%. So obviously a lot of positive things have happened, as you reported, Al, on the new development that's going in with housing. In addition to this, we'll have an airport meeting tomorrow at noon. This goes back to Tom B. David, Calhoun-Gordon County joint sponsored airport, looking at 2 large projects. One is a $10 million parallel taxiway to allow more frequent safe landings and takeoffs. The other one is a $5 million jetport for hangar services for jet aircraft. So both of those are pending. A lot of state regulations, particularly on the taxiway, are having to be worked out and worked through, but hopefully that will continue at a positive pace. That is an open meeting at noon. Anybody who wishes to attend can attend. And finally, we're down to the 2 last meetings of the year. And this is going to wrap it up. Again, my congratulations to both of the winners and best of luck in the future. I'm hoping and assuming that the council photos will stay at City Hall and will stay at the utility office. If you guys are ever there and you have a need for a utility bill or for a general government issue, there'll be a cell phone that will go to each elected official so that you can call and leave a message with your concerns. I know these men in the audience, as well as these folks here at the table, welcome your calls. We want to hear what's not working or what is working. We got a letter about an individual who had a very positive to say about our employees and what they did in a breakdown service. So it's always good to hear that. Let me remind you that we just had an election. Splash was passed with 2 projects that are important to this community. One was the PATH project. That'll be for the first mile of pathway in the community. Remind your council that that was passed and that you'd like to see that accomplished as quickly as possible. The other one is recycling. Jackie reported on that. That continually grows. We put funding in there for an additional building so we wouldn't have a joint share building with the school system. And I know that this council in years to come will be debating where recycling is going to go, whether it's going to be curbside pickup or what. So if you've got an interest in that, feel free to call these gentlemen and this lady and let them know what your wishes are. Let me remind you finally that we did pass term limits here. The voters did, 61.5% margin. I would encourage you to call all of your elected officials and encourage them to take this all the way to the State House and make a charter change. The wording that we used was exactly the same as the city of Marietta, and they have gone forward with theirs and now have term limits in place. Also, there was a vote for expanded council, and that passed also. If you would like to see your community progress and move forward, then pick up the phone, reach out and call these individuals and let them know what your wishes are. But tune in every week that we have a meeting, know what's going on, stay informed, and take an active role. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for those comments. This time we'll have the public hearings. The public will have the opportunity to make pro and con comments with a 10-minute maximum for each side of the matter, and with each person speaking giving their name and address. This time, and also having filed a financial disclosure statement 5 days prior to the hearing if required. This time I'll ask if anybody on the council has had need of a financial disclosure statement. Hearing none, the first item is we had tabled an item concerning a zoning change request from industrial G to R2. This was property located at 203 Edmund Street, and at that time, do I have a motion to remove it from table?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
And with that, we can announce that that item has been withdrawn.
Yes, sir. That would then run removed.
Yes. And also, along with that request, there was a variance request to reduce the minimum square footage by 500 feet. That would be from 800 square feet to 300 square feet for the same property at 203 Edmund Street. And so it was also tabled. So do I have a motion to remove it from table?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
And also,
And again, Your Honor, that having been, application having been removed, withdrawn, that renders the issue moot.
thank you very much.
I would mention, Mr. Mayor, that this was the tiny homes scenario that's played out in our community many times. I think it came before this body twice, so I look for this to be an issue that will probably come back up at a later date. A lot of interesting thought about it, a lot of controversy, but something that probably will be debated in the future.
Anybody else? First item is a public hearing on an annexation and zoning request. The request is for C2. It is for 1.33 acres. This is located on Highway, Highway 53 and parcel number GC 57066. Request is by William Jensen of Jets Foods. Zoning Advisory Board met on December the 7th. And with that, we'll open the public hearing and ask for if all the notices and notifications have been properly placed and given.
All the legal requirements have been met.
Thank you very much. Report of the Zoning Advisory Board.
The board met and was in favor of both the annexation and the zoning request.
Thank you very much. Once again, the request is for C2 zoning for 1.33 acres, property on Highway 53. This time we'll ask for comments. If anybody has any comments or questions concerning the zoning and annexation. Hearing none, we'll close the hearing and ask for a motion concerning the annexation request.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the annexation.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed. Also a motion concerning the zoning request of C2.
And I make a motion to approve the zoning request as well.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed. Next item is a public hearing on a side setback variance. This request is for 12 feet. It is to reduce the minimum distance from 20 feet to 8 feet for property located at 170 Fred Hurley Road. Request is by Jason Everts. Zoning Advisory Board also met on December the 7th. This time we'll open the public hearing and ask if all the legal requirements have been properly placed and given.
Yes, sir, they have.
Report of the Zoning Advisory Board.
The board was also in favor of this variance request.
Thank you. Once again, it is for property at 170 Fred Hurley Road. It is for a 12-foot variance. This time we'll ask for questions or comments concerning the request. Hearing none, we'll close the hearing and ask for a motion.
And I make a motion to approve the variance request.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed. And we have an item for consideration of a 2018 renewal application for a taxi, and that is Taxi Express. Mr. Gavinian.
Yes, sir. Your Honor, the matter for the Mayor and Council to consider today will be the renewal of license number, or certificate of operation number 12378 for Taxi Express for the 2018 year. Some issues that have been brought to the city's attention warranted being brought to, or at least brought to my attention via the clerk, warranted being brought to the council's attention in voting to renew. It is not necessarily an intent to seek denial, but as our ordinance, as our taxi cab ordinance has, there's two different means of consideration. There's the first consideration for the issuance of an operation, and then also right of suspension. Under 22-265 for considerations for issuance, protest, complaints, and testimony in favor of, and also other facts considered relevant by the Mayor and Council. And Section 22-272 actually allows for the city clerk to immediately suspend without cause, or suspend with cause and without prior notice for any violations of the chapters of the United States, the state of Georgia, or of course the city of Calhoun. And then that is to be brought before the Mayor and Council for a hearing where the applicant can appear and defend. And at that time, the Mayor and Council could take three actions, which is to continue the current suspension, place the operator on probation for fixed term to ensure compliance, revoke the certificate of operation, or restore the certificate such that it remains in full force. As counsel for the city, I pass no judgment either way on the information that was brought to my attention. I just felt it my responsibility to at least bring it to the Mayor and Council's attention in this renewal application because it was unusual and that we had the information coming in. And I'll do this basically informally for the benefit of the applicant in more of a summation. On November 10th, 2017, the city clerk received an open records request. And that open records request was specifically regarding information materials for license number 12378 during the 2017-2018 period. As that matter progressed, it became apparent, and I have put in front of you both Exhibits A and Exhibits B. Exhibit A Exhibit A would be an accident report in which I've highlighted two different pieces of information, one in orange, the others in green. The others in green indicate that a Khaleesi Wilkerson was operating a 2010 Toyota Corolla with a particular VIN number ending in 5474, owned by Robledo Moises here in the city, and was in a collision on May 12, 2017. That would be the orange. The reason these two become important is because later individuals seeking the information about the records request had produced as B. B being the Ethio American Insurance Company policy denial for the date of loss of May 12, 2017 for a insured Moises. Am I pronouncing that right? Yes.
All right.
trust me, with a name like Avinion, I'm very paranoid of it. Moises Robieto, for an unlisted, unauthorized driver, Khaleesi Wilkerson. Now, the reason that also became problematic for the city is because the 2010 Toyota Corolla with the tag number matching the tag number on the incident report, which I'm not going to speak out over, and the VIN number ending with 5474 is listed on the 2018 renewal application for enlistment as a taxi for hire, but was not listed in the 2017. And that this accident occurred in essentially the middle of the 2017 year was problematic. And that is because, pursuant to our code, pursuant to the notice to provided, there's a requirement of examination and inspection of all vehicles in service, liability insurance required, application to change number of taxi cabs, and taxi cab driver's permits required. If this vehicle was in operation as a taxi cab at the time, one, there was no liability insurance for the driver because the driver did not have a taxi cab driver's permit, nor was there an application at any point between the renewal in 2017 and the renewal application for 2018 to list this vehicle specifically as one being pressed into service. And it was missed.
Had it gone through the inspection process?
Sir?
Had it gone through the inspection?
I have no records that it had been. I have none personally, yeah. But I also know that we had not received the report for an accident, which is another.
But that said vehicle was not listed as one of their viable vehicles.
Not with the 2017 renewal. Right. With the 2018 renewal, it is. But also Section 22-240, all accidents arising from or connection with the operation of taxi cab which results in death or injury to any person, damage of vehicle shall be reported within 24 hours of the time of the occurrence. Now that could be covered by the incident report or the accident report, so I'm not finding. I did not cite that as one of the concerns. And the open records requests were filed by Roberta Velasquez, who is present. Okay, and they may want to comment. I just wanted to put this open for a public hearing for the mayor and council because they're all facts before. Again, I take no position as to whether revocation is necessary or whether denial is necessary. It's just these were facts that needed to be brought to the attention of the governing authority before just simply renewing without consideration.
Right, and at this time we'll ask if you have any questions or comments concerning that.
Yes, Your Honor. I have documentation that I would like to provide the board.
Sure.
May I have?
Sure, please.
This is a contract agreement of the vehicle mentioned. It was purchased 2 weeks before the accident, and the vehicle has been repaired.
Excuse me just a minute. Did you get name and address? Would you state your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Moises Robleto, and I'm the registered owner of the taxi cab service. That's the purchase order from the dealership. It was 2 weeks prior on the day of the accident, and that's the reason why it wasn't on the 2017 application. The vehicles are fully legal and have copies of the inspections from the police department.
You have records for that car for
Yes.
2017?
Yes. For the 2018 application.
But not 17?
No, no, sir.
When was it inspected?
17.
It was inspected after it was repaired. I have the latest two inspections. The city's identification of the drivers of the payroll, and also I have copies from the state showing the registration with the background checks for high endorsements. And the lady that was driving the vehicle is not one of our employees, and that's the reason why she was not listed on the policy. So, with that in mind, I take full responsibility of the negligence for allowing her to drive the vehicle, not being one of our drivers.
And I'm sorry, she was driving for what reason?
Her car was in the mechanic shop, and the lady that they had the accident, the present, she was at the same mechanic shop too. You know, they both left the mechanic shop. And they had an accident like near the public library.
So she wasn't driving?
She wasn't.
She wasn't
on our payroll or
okay.
Full time for us, and that's the reason why she was registered. She has a job, a part-time job.
Was she carrying a fare at the time?
No passengers, no fares.
Did you give her permission to drive the
Yes,
car?
I did.
So why would your insurance not cover if you granted permission?
And I have a full coverage insurance, and the insurance company is claiming that they're not going to accept responsibility because she wasn't listed as a driver. Even though we have full coverage insurance.
It's on a personal vehicle though. If you
Yeah.
let somebody borrow.
Yeah, if you loaned your own car out with permission, then it would be covered. But being a company, that's a different scenario.
It's different, and that's what we're trying to plead here and ask you, to renew the license for the 2018 year, and not just because of me, but the four drivers that I have full time on the payroll, and that's my main concern. And of course, I'll be responsible for damages to her car and so on.
Well, one of the reasons this council decided to start inspections and registration was we knew that there was a need for this service in this community.
Yes, sir.
But we wanted to protect the community as they use this service.
Yes, sir.
That they were in safe automobiles with trained drivers who had passed physical inspections and followed the rules.
Yes, sir.
This is very complicated.
Was the individual driving, or do you have people that do drive your vehicles that are not listed on your policy? This was an unusual circumstance.
What's your relationship with her?
Actually, we was very good friends, like close friends, like not dating, but just friends.
Yeah.
She didn't have a car, so you can go this one. It's not ready yet. The license plate, it takes a special taxi cab license. It didn't have it. Had a temporary paper license from the dealership. So the car wasn't fully operating as a for-hire vehicle.
And you said her vehicle was in the shop?
In the mechanic shop property.
What mechanic shop was that?
Guardado's Auto Repair on Highway 41. Near the fire department. Our plan is to, in the year 2018, just grow the company and hire 4 more drivers, and they'll have to go through the city approvals first, run through the background checks and get their IDs before they operate it.
So when did you register the car with the city though?
It was after it was repaired.
And when was that?
It was inspected November 22nd. It's on one of those reports. Yeah, it's floating around here somewhere.
I had to repair it, and I had to take responsibility for the repair.
Since it was November, that's why you just waited till 18?
Yes, sir. And now the car has got the license plate and insurance. And not only that car, but the other cars that we own.
This situation appears to be minor as far as damages,
Yes.
but my mind always goes to a worst-case scenario. If we were looking at a fatality here, the situation that caused it would still be the same. There would have been a violation of our taxi cab policy, and your management decision led to that. So I'm of the opinion there has to be a strict punishment so that this type of situation won't happen again. Now, that's one person's opinion. That's why there's 5 of us up here.
And I will have to agree with your opinion too, because I feel responsible for the situation and my bad judgment or lack of, from New York.
Have we had any other issues?
No, we had the license for many years, never had any issues, never had a problem, and I'm the only company listed as an emergency service with the 911 dispatchers and the hospital as well. So we're the only company that provides 24-hour service in town, and all the drivers are very responsible and professional drivers.
Gary, not to put you on the spot, but I know that your officers did fill out the reports that were passed around here. Does anything come to your mind about past issues with this company that this council should hear about?
One question I have is either Taxi Express that charged the man $40 to go from Holiday Inn Express to Bojangles. And then when I called him to talk to him, he was rude and hung up on me.
Yeah, I don't have an explanation for that. I have no recollection. And we don't charge anything like that. That is absurd. I don't know if you want the correct number, or because I'm the dispatcher and owner, and we only charge $5 per ride, so it'd be unreasonable to charge somebody $40. And we always, try to keep a great relationship with everybody, keep everybody fair and consistent. That's what I insist, the whole drivers do the same thing.
Let me ask you, did you have anybody else with any comments or anybody else need to speak?
No, the gentleman sitting there is my father and also my partner.
Okay.
And he's one of the drivers too.
Okay. Anybody have any other questions? George, I think when you were talking a few minutes ago, you gave the opportunity of 3 options.
Yes, sir. And also, as this is a public hearing, the driver of the other vehicle and the owner of the other vehicle were present and would like to be heard, because one of the questions is whether this was a marked vehicle or not at the time. They are requested to be heard as well.
That I thought over with you, so yes.
And I do that because it's $13,752 worth of damage to their vehicle for which there was no insurance.
I just didn't realize. Okay, thank you very much. Yes, ma'am.
Which would first come forward and state your name for the record.
Marlene Melendez. I'm the owner of the car my daughter was driving that day. My grandson was in the car, a year and a half girl, and the grandfather and the father of the child also were involved in the accident. My daughter's here. She even took a picture of the vehicle that day. It was a Taxi Express.
Do you have that picture with you by any chance?
On her phone. Also, in September of 2016, Gerardo Gonzalez was one of the drivers. He got in an accident, and State Farm sent him a letter from the other driver saying that Ethio American was not going to pay because he was not on policy. So that happened the night you have that. Gave them a copy of that. Thank God we have uninsured motorists, but it doesn't cover everything. I've had to have my daughter's insurance since she was 16, so I know that it's very expensive from that age. Mr. Gonzalez didn't have his license for more than a year. He had it less, so I'm sure that the insurance is going to be a lot higher. But I don't know if that was the reason that he didn't put him on policy. I don't know. But it was very inconvenient, very time-consuming, stressful, and we've had to, all the inconvenience, and we have to pay out of our pocket a lot. I had to go to the emergency room and didn't go back to the doctor's office, but I mean, more than $13,000 worth of damage wasn't just a little bump on the side. And so, you know, if we can do something about this, it's going to continue. I just want to see what's going to happen. I don't wish that they, you know, they go out of business or anything like that. They do serve very good in our Hispanic community, especially. It's just that it's been very, very stressful for all the families with this problem.
Let me ask one question. Why did it get to us? Why was this not handled before it came to this governing body so that this wasn't an issue? If you admitted damages and your insurance didn't cover, why did you not just take care of the necessary cost factors?
I would like to show you pictures of the accident. And I received a letter and a phone call from the State Farm Insurance, her insurance provider. And that's a car after the accident. Very minimum damage. But I do believe that they have to go through a lot of inconveniences, like I mentioned, and rent a car and all that. But our repair for our car was $2,000, and it has significant damage.
So there was your disagreement. You thought that
we never had any communications. Never had a conversation, and this is the first time I meet the lady. I've never seen her before. I've never spoken to her, and I just received paperwork through the courthouse, you know, that they're seeking compensation.
Sure.
So that's the reason why it was never brought to our attention.
Well, like I said, I was just wondering why it came to us, why this didn't just disappear, if there wasn't a citation or anything written.
So you're letting the insurance company handle all the communications to him?
Yes, I believe so. And we've just finished trying to pay and do everything just, I mean, after what, 7 months? But I do have the repair cost, and it was like almost 6 weeks of having to repair that in Kennesaw at Ed Boyle's. So it took a long time. The rental wasn't going to pay completely. It's just been really a big hassle, and thank God it was just damages like this, nothing serious with my family. It could have been.
Okay. Thank you. George, go over those options again.
Because we don't have a specific procedure, renewal is basically just considering the same factors as beforehand, but then also we did build in a specific right of suspension or revocation. This is more akin, in my legal opinion, to a revocation concern rather than a non-renewal, because non-renewal would be a revocation.
Yeah.
The four options that are available to the mayor and council after having this public hearing are continue the current suspension. No suspension has been put in place, so technically that's not on the table. Place the operator on a probation for a fixed term to ensure compliance. Revoke the certificate of operation, which in this effect would just be to non-renew.
Right.
Or four, restore the certificate such that it remains in full force. As counsel for the city, it's my advice, based upon the facts right now, to strongly consider option 2, to place the renewal onto a probation status to ensure that certain statements that were made tonight on the record are followed through with.
And how long of a probation?
I would say a probationary period of no less than 6 months, or 180 days.
And that's adequate time? You're a lawyer, so.
It's not necessarily adequate time, but it's certainly adequate enough time for progress to determine whether they can come off probationary status or not. In other words, if no action is taken until the 175th day, then there's a bad faith compliance. If there's action taken during the entire 180 days, then there's good faith compliance and no need to be on probationary status. Again, it's not my intent as representing the city to do anything to harm anyone's means of making a living, but the reason we enacted the statute when I first drafted it after Mr. Bailey passed away was to create a position the city could use to protect individuals with tax firearms.
Let me ask you a question. Would 6 months be satisfactory, or do you think it should be a year when the natural process of renewals would come back in place?
It could be a 12-month probationary license. that's perfectly acceptable as well.
What are the stipulations in a probation as well? What does that mean? I mean, just saying you're in probation?
For example, the applicant has indicated that he will take personal liability and responsibility for their damages.
But this council has no power to bind that,
None whatsoever.
so.
That's why I would recommend 6 months and then
I agree.
review the probation at that time. In
Mr.
other words,
Mayor.
it would be a probationary renewal for a period not to exceed 6 months to be subject to review for continued operation at that point.
And I'll make that motion, but I want to add a stipulation. Again, we enacted this because I really didn't think we had a tight enough program here, and that people were getting injured, whether that be in faulty equipment or whether that be with erroneous charges, and it shouldn't happen. I'll recommend a 6-month probation, but with any issues involving your drivers or your fleet, with periodic police inspections, if anything comes into violation, then this council won't be here, but I would recommend that the next council proceed with revocation of your license. We're glad you provide a service to our community. Obviously, the community values the service, but we got to protect everybody here. And again, this could very easily have been a much worse case scenario, and we just need to get it across that we want safe vehicles, certified drivers, licensed drivers with insurance on our highways. So I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
A motion to have a second.
I'll second, but I'm going to add a comment too. If I was you, I would communicate with the city and the plaintiff, and I'd give her kudos because she doesn't want you to go out of business or hurt your other employees. She's being very considerate to you, in my opinion. But I would communicate very well to the city on what you're trying to do to rectify this situation.
Yes, sir.
And at 6 months, if this hasn't been rectified satisfactory, then
You won't have a license.
And just to clarify for the record in the minutes, the motion is to renew for a probation period not to exceed 6 months with review at that time to
with periodic inspections by the police department on your company and your drivers to be sure that all letters of the law are being met.
That's very reasonable, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Or was there any other discussion? All those opposed? Hearing none, we have the first reading of a zoning change request. This request is for R2 to C2. It is for 0.82 acres. It is located at 208 River Street. The request is by Samantha Lusk. The zoning advisory board will meet on January the 4th, public hearing on January the 8th. We also have the first reading of a beer package alcoholic beverage license application for San Marcos. This is located at 90 East May Street. Public hearing is scheduled for January the 8th. I have a request from the Calhoun Fire Department to present the following items to be sold as surplus equipment. We have a 1994 Ford Ranger with mileage of 170,707. The vehicle is in fair condition and currently in service and operational. Also have a Home Light 3,500 watt generator with a Briggs & Stratton gas-powered engine. And the request is also that the monies from the sale of these items be used to purchase new headsets for the fire engines to upgrade what is currently 10-year-old equipment and technology. I would ask if anybody has any questions concerning any of these. If not, do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
A motion, say any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? We have some annual business license renewals opportunities. Mr. Gavinian suggested we do these on a basis of category, so I won't read the names, but I will do the titles. We have beer pouring. Do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Beer and wine pouring. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
I'm sorry, I'm in favor.
Okay, is that everybody?
And I abstain.
We're good,
I'm
let's go.
abstaining.
Beer, wine, and liquor pouring.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Beer and wine package, A nights number 2.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Beer package.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Beer, wine, liquor package.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Beer, wine, pouring theater.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? There are also 2 taxi requests in your packet, and with that, do I have a motion to approve the renewals?
So moved. Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Mr. Peterson.
We have our fourth quarter budget amendments. This ends our fiscal year 16 and 17 for June 30th. Some things that stand out under legal and auditing: Walker versus Calhoun, $206,000, and right under that was $200,000 for the auditorium. These were not budgeted items. And you can see, if you go down the list, engineering, $23,862. This was for the design guidelines for commercial and apartments and things of that nature. Interdepartmental service budget was $8,500 with total expenses of $29,819. This was for downtown events, work done by the electric department. On the revenue side, our local option sales tax was $82,000 more than budgeted, and our insurance premium was $100,000 more than our budgeted amount. One area not covered was the property taxes. 2014 and back, we collected about $600,000 for the Calhoun school system. And on the secondary funds, the hotel motel amounts continue to increase above budgeted amounts. You have a full breakdown, but these are the ones that seem to stand out to me. So that's our requested fourth quarter budget amendments.
And after review, if they have no questions concerning these, to have a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And I know of no need to go to executive session, so with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor?
Al wants to stay here.
Bunch of quitters. Disappointing.
We leave this, right?